Hello and welcome to my tutorial on how to make these custom blocks. It's a very simple tutorial and I'll run you through the basics of how to get your own blocks added into Minecraft. Let's begin. Okay, so here we are into Bridge and I'm going to show you two very easy ways to set this up. The first one is ridiculously easy. What we can do is actually we can go up to tools here. We can go to presets. And then in here, you'll actually find there's a preset for a block, okay? And I'm literally going to call that preset underscore block, okay? Click create, and believe it or not, that's created our block for us. If we go on the behavior pack and into blocks here, we're going to see preset underscore block, and you can see that it's put our format version in. We've then got this Minecraft block with our description and a few components there, just a little bit of a destroy time, a little bit of explosion resistance, and a map color as well. We don't really need these straight off the bat, but they're good practice to get into. And then we've also got in the resource pack is everything in here, from the name for the block in the texts. We've even got the textures itself. So if I click textures, blocks, and then preset block, you can see there's already a texture put in. This is what the preset has given us. And we've also got in terrain underscore texture, you should see texture data, and there we go, cyan, preset block, and then in textures here, that is all good to go. So if I actually load up Minecraft, and we should now be able to find our block. Now, the problem is custom blocks will not come up in the creative menu, okay? They won't even come up as a recipe in survival. So if I type in here preset, you're not going to see anything. If I type in block, because we called it preset block, again, there's no new blocks here. We know what it looks like, but it's just not here. What we need to do is actually use the give command. So I'm going to go /give @s for myself, and then I'm going to type in cyan, okay, because my namespace is cyan. So if your namespace is Dave, you could write Dave in there, or whatever you've called your block, just search for it basically. And you can see there that I've got cyan glazed terracotta, cyan dye, and cyan preset block. So I'm going to tab to autocomplete that, press enter, and there we go. We have been given our brand new semi-custom block. Now I say semi-custom because it's basically on a preset and we've done nothing to it. But what I'm now going to do is actually break down all the parts of how that preset works, so then you have a better understanding of creating them from scratch yourself. So back into Bridge and into our behavior pack here, and we can obviously see our preset block here. I'm going to go for new file, and then I'm going to go down to block, and we're going to name this custom block this time, because this one is going to be a custom block. We're going to do all of this ourselves. The template, we are going to use blank block though, just because it adds in a couple of bits that you'll see here. So our format version is there. We can auto fix that, and that's going to enter in like so. And then this Minecraft block, we're going to see a description. So any of you that have followed any of my other tutorials, we always need an identifier in here. Now, it should turn up in the drop down menu. So you're going to see here that we do have the cyan preset block that we've already done. We also now have the cyan custom block. Okay, that's what we're doing now. While we're in the description as well, I'm going to add object is experimental, and we're going to go false. Okay, and that should allow you to not have the experimental features on, but I always like to get into a habit of always turning them on, just so then you don't get tripped up on anything. The only reason that you'd not want to use the experimental features is if you're creating content for the marketplace. And to be fair, if you're here watching my tutorials, you're probably not creating marketplace content. Now, in the components part, I'm going to leave this empty for now. If I look at the preset block, if you remember, we did have just a couple of presets in here. We've got the destroy time, explosion resistance, and a map color. But we don't need to worry about them right now. Excuse me, just to get the basic block into the game. I'm going to go through all of the components in the next episode. So, custom block, we've got our identifier. We don't need to worry about the components. That now is done. So I'm going to click close. And because I haven't saved it, it's going to ask me, do I want to save it? So of course, we want to save that. So that is the behavior pack part itself done. The next few parts actually are going to be in the resource pack. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab a texture that I've already made, and I will show you where to put that into the folder. So you can see here I'm in Gimp and I've already created my texture. Now this needs to be 16 by 16 pixels. So use whatever image editor you like, but just make sure that it is 16 by 16. And when you export it, you're exporting it as a PNG. So I'm actually going to close that now. And you can see I have that here all nice and saved. I'm going to minimize my folder there. And then in resource pack, we're going to go textures. But I'm going to right click this and reveal in file explorer. Okay, so we're in the actual resource pack now. And we're going to go into textures. Now, if you hadn't already used the preset, right now I'd be asking you to do a little right click. We'd go new, we'd add a folder, and we'd call that blocks. But because we did use the preset, that has already been created for us. So I'm going to go into the blocks folder, and you can see there's our preset block. Now, if I move that to one side, grab my save folder, and I've got my custom texture here. We're going to drag that in like so. So now I have my brand new custom block texture. Okay, so that now, if I refresh the resource pack here, go to textures, go to blocks, you should now see that I've got these two textures. Okay, the preset that we done at the beginning and the custom block that we're currently working on. Close them once you're ready, and the next thing we're going to want to do is go into the texts here. We're going to want to go en_US language. So this is the English American language file. And the really good thing about using the preset is, especially if you're new, I'd recommend using it first, because then you've almost got something to refer to. So you can see here that we've got this tile.cyan preset block.name. Okay, and then it says equal preset block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter to create a new line. I'm going to start typing tile, and you'll see there that as well as the preset coming up, we've also got custom block.name. Okay, and I'm going to press equals, and straight away it suggests a name for us. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with custom block. I'm going to then do Control S to save that and close that. So we've now given our block a name. The next thing I want to do is click on textures. So you're going to see here that I'm actually working my way down these folders. So sounds we don't need to worry about. We're not adding a custom sound. The text we've done. If we now go into textures and then down to terrain_texture.json, and then in here we want to click texture data. Now we do see here that we've got our preset block. Okay, so you could basically copy this and edit it for your custom block, but in case you don't have that there, in case you're doing this from scratch, then what I'm going to do is on the texture data, I'm going to click add object, and I'm going to go cyan_custom_block. Okay, because that's what our block's called. And now you can see that it's popped up with this textures on the add object. So we're going to click that. We're going to click add object again and go 0. And again, we're going to click it and we're going to go path. And then over in add value, we can now click textures blocks stroke custom block, or whatever your block is called. Okay, so this looks a little bit different to above because we're basically using the auto drop down. You could copy the one from above, but kind of I'd use Bridges auto completion just to make sure that nothing's going wrong. So I'm going to go Control S to save that, and we're going to close that. Carrying on down this list here, you'll see that you've got a blocks.json, and if you click on that, if you've already done a preset block, then you're going to see that in here. If not, all you'll have is the format version. Okay, but what we can do is if we look just as a reference, we can see here that the cyan, which is my namespace, preset block. So this is basically matching our identifier in here. You can see description identifier. cyan colon preset block. Okay, so it's written exactly the same as that. And we define the texture, and we also define a sound for our block. Now, it's a little bit weird in here because it's a, you know, you're probably wondering, how can I add a new, you know, a new block? So what I'm going to do is, imagine this cyan preset wasn't here. I'm going to click the format version here. I'm then going to go add object, and I'm going to type cyan. Oh, if I can spell cyan colon custom underscore block. So that's obviously what we've called this new block, and press enter. And you can see that it looks the same as the preset block, but it's actually under the format version. So I'm just going to click and drag that back out of the format version. So if you look, it's now in line with everything else, as opposed to being inside that format version, if that makes sense. And then into custom block, I'm going to click that, and we are going to go textures. Okay, so you can start typing that, and it drops down already. And then we can, it says here, look, we've got all this up, down, etc, etc, and we're only working with the one texture. So if we go straight over to add value, and you can see we have cyan underscore custom block. Okay, and while we're in here, making sure that you've got your custom block selected, we're going to go for sound, and I'm going to actually add wood. Why not? Okay, we're playing about, we're testing stuff, it's fine. So I'm going to go Control S and close that. So now we should be able to load up Minecraft and check to see if our block works. So I'm going to go back into the world that I already created. And as I said before, ignore some of these errors at the top. This is, oh, that's actually linking to the shader pack I've got on. So we can see our preset block here. And if we do the same as before, so I go /give @s, and I start typing my namespace, you can see there that we've now got cyan custom block. So I'm going to press enter, and there we go, and we can throw that down. And if you listen, it's actually got a wood sound as opposed to the stone sound. And there you have it for now. That is the very, very basics of setting up custom blocks. In the next episode, I will go through all the different components, how you can make sure that it drops either itself or different items, or using specific tools. And I will also do a tutorial on custom geometry as well. So think, I don't know, slabs or stuff like the enchantment table, and even custom crafters. So anyway, for now though, have a play around with that. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, hit that like button on the way out. And until the next one, take care, stay cool, bye bye.